Good morning, everyone. I started early just so people get notifications. So I have no idea how many people are going to show up. So we're going to keep it pretty relaxed. And I'd encourage you to put any questions into the comments and I'll pull it up there. So I actually just got the notification that I'm live. So yay. Hopefully you can also put in the comments that you can hear me. That would be helpful. So, and see me. What's alive if you can't actually see me? So I have my party hat. John Asperian accused me of stealing it from my daughter. But it was very helpful for making a gift. So I learned things all the time from that group. It's a fabulous group, Espresso Plus it's called. It's run by John Asperian. It's one of the most supportive places on the internet to learn about LinkedIn. And he's going to be opening it up for a limited time in April for more members. So if you're interested in learning more about LinkedIn, you might want to do that. So it just rolled 11 o'clock. So hopefully people are going to be joining us gradually. This is actually going to be something that kind of lives on the feed, the way that I'm going to run it. So I'm just going to go and just say, this is my last day of sabbatical. My job was restructured at the end of November of 2020. And so I took more than a year off actually to really kind of plan my next play, as LinkedIn likes to do with their staff. And I, from the beginning, decided that I was going to call that a sabbatical because I'd been laid off before. And so I knew the mental crush that actually comes with that. And I wanted to make sure that I was framing it positively, both for me and for other people. And Ken is saying good morning. So thank you for joining me, Ken. And I wanted to introduce myself. The plan is that tomorrow I introduce myself as CEO of Nola Simon Advisory. And what I'm going to be helping people with is doing hybrid remote work better. And so that really means that my ideal clients are companies who are looking to embed hybrid or remote into their processes going forward so that it's sustainable, so that it helps their people thrive. And it's not just for right now, it's what does this look like in 5 or 10 years, right? So that's the goal, that's the offering. And the purpose of today really is just to have something to really kind of declare the end of the sabbatical, to celebrate taking that time off, and to really help people by actually understanding more about sabbatical. Because what I realized actually over the last year is not many people have actually taken a sabbatical. Not many people know about sabbaticals. Shelley is here. Shelley Brown. Yay. Hey, Weird and Wonderful Nola. She knows me well. Weird is actually her framework. She's a speaker and an author, and she is actually on my new podcast that's going to be releasing soon. And I'm so excited to have her in the audience. So thank you for joining, Shelley. So that's one other thing that I'm doing as well too. I'm going to do a limited release of the podcast to celebrate the end of the sabbatical. And I have Shelley Brown, and I'm going to do an individual podcast really about how I'm going to help and about my business. And then there's one other episode with Mary Williams, who's a coach therapist from the UK, who has a gift of coming out of the universe when I need her. And I've taken her leadership course. I've taken her I've read her book. I've done all kinds of things with her, but she's really gifted in terms of considering how people actually. She said it so well on my podcast. She said that a lot of people actually need therapy. They don't necessarily need coaching. They need therapy. She's like, it's having the icing on your cake. The coaching is the icing, but you actually need the cake. And Kristen Sherry is here. So Kristen. I'm so excited to have you here. So thank you. And sabbaticals rock. And one of the things that I wanted to actually highlight is you can really build a supportive community and network throughout the internet and really surround yourself just by actually doing thoughtful comments. I mean, Kristen and I have actually never met, but we've chatted. We've been on Zoom. I'm taking her UMAP certification because I'm interested in how that can actually help managers and people do hybrid work better, looking at strengths and analyzing that. And the best part is all these people kind of know each other too. And so you create this wonderful wonderful event. And so this is the result, one of the results of here, figure out how it actually displays. I'm actually on a book. And so that is me in cartoon form. And this is one of the books that we're going to be giving away today. And this is, my ring light is on it nicely, but you've got quirks and you're wonderful. If you've been following my feed, you've seen it all over the place. But I had, when Kristen had come up with the idea for the book, I had really just found an Instagram community for Waardenburg syndrome. I've never seen anybody who actually looked like me. It was really bizarre because it was just like people around the world I'd never had any concept existed. And it was just this flash of belonging. So getting back to what Shelley actually talks about is what helps you belong and how do you integrate that into your life, into your work. And it's just so important. And that's where I really wanted to amplify that voice and share that story. So it's so exciting to really kind of see this all kind of build together. So again, the idea of today is really to kind of celebrate. I did create a playlist because I'm streaming to YouTube. I can't play the music in the background because I don't want to get hit with a copyright for infringement. So I did provide the Spotify link, but if you actually go to Spotify, you can actually search Nola Simon End of Sabbatical and find that playlist. It's just a short little playlist. I do have others on there. I created one when I actually was restructured. And actually, that's a 17-year playlist to honor my work of 17 years. And there's also another playlist I created, which has all of my speaking engagements. Susan Smith is in the house too. Susan, I actually met on LinkedIn through Carrie, actually. And she is the reason that I was actually on the Change Zone. So Change Zone is actually like a TV show that actually streams live on YouTube, but also goes to Spotify and iHeartMedia. And that was the first live video that I had really done. And I think, honestly, that is part of the reason that I've gotten all the media after the thing. So in terms of how you can get a copy of the book for the giveaways, I'm really going to actually do the magic is in the action. So I'm going to encourage people to use LinkedIn. So you can like and comment. So if you already liked and comment the event post, you're already in. So that's awesome. You've already qualified. The other way you can actually qualify for the giveaway is you can actually write a review of the podcast, The Janice Oasis. You can do that anywhere. Podchaser is a really great place to do that because it centralizes and captures things. And that actually captures in the storytelling, which is really where Carrie comes from. And she's been an amazing help to me to fine tune the message and really help me draw people to me. It acts as a magnet. Her work with storytelling and mindfulness has been a game changer during the sabbatical. And Jillia Whitney is here from Las Vegas. She is actually Canadian and she is in Las Vegas, but she is a magic video strategist. I don't know your exact title, Jillian, but she's been so helpful in posting hints. She's actually one of the reasons I was talking about the copyright issue on YouTube, because she posted something helpful about that too. If she comes to Canada this year, I've offered to be her guide. It's been a long time since she was in Toronto. And yes, Carrie has really amplified my voice. So, and the other way, and I will put all of this in instructions and create a whole post about how you can actually qualify. The other way is if you just want to follow my new business page. So I've converted the Throughline project, which was the business page I created for my time off. I've converted that into Nola Simon Advisory. And I need followers. So I'd like to get that up to 150 followers, because if you get 150 followers on a business page, you can actually get newsletters. You can actually do LinkedIn Live from a business page. And it's helpful to be able to grow that. Right. So I need to do things that are actually something that I can track. So all of that, I can actually see whether you've done it or not. It encourages you to actually take action and learn more about LinkedIn. Remember, the magic is in the action. And honestly, it does help me as well, too. So there's that. So there is, you've got quirks. And then I have a copy of one of Kristen's other books. She actually has 12. So, I have to kind of pick and choose here. But I have a copy of Maximize 365, and I picked this just because not everybody necessarily can take a year sabbatical. So it's like, how can you transform your life if you can't necessarily dedicate yourself to taking a year off? And so I'm giving away that. It's really kind of bite-sized little tips that you can learn from and implement in your day. Now, Carrie's book, The Career Stories Method, this is actually the name of her company as well, too, the Career Stories. It's about how to actually learn your stories, really tune into your stories and how you tell your stories so that you can create, media. Like Christian said, amplifying my voice with Carrie's help really helped because I was tuning in and getting really specific to my specific skills and strategies. And it's really, really helpful in terms of writing a resume and interviewing. So that's where Carrie started. Now she's pivoting her career into being a mindfulness coach and, working with people who actually don't necessarily want to get a new job, but they're interested in being happier in the jobs that they actually have. So career contentment. And I can tell you that that's a huge, huge field. I wish I had had that when I was, doing my 17-year-long stint, because career contentment is honestly what I was searching for the entire time I was there. So she has a gift of insight. And this coach actually is Sarah Vermont. And this was my first coach. I hired her just because she's irreverent. She's fun. Her Instagram is full of cats and stickers and stationery and art. But she's so smart. She actually walked away from doing a doctorate because she actually had a meltdown, a mental break in the middle of a Starbucks, and then walked away and created her business. Sarah is the person who actually, I watched her, put out posts going, hey, I think I should actually be on podcasts. Like, what podcast should I be on? And then she went on to be on all these podcasts. She did all this media. And now she's a regular on Cityline, which is a Canadian TV show, especially based in Toronto. So Sarah is also my first exposure to WeWork. She had a beautiful office in a WeWork building. And that was my first exposure to really co-working. So that was really fun as well, too. So hopefully you are all dancing and you've got the Spotify playlist going. As I said, if you're just kind of bored with what I'm talking about, you can actually, just dance and kind of tune me up, but that's completely fine. Now, I will be responding to comments for the giveaway. Again, just like and comment the event post. You can like my business page, nolasimon.com. Or you can actually write a review of my podcast, The Janice Oasis. I'm going to let it run for a week because I have to give people time to really take action. And then next Friday, what I'm going to do, I'll go live again and I will do 4 draws, right? So we'll go one by one, and then we'll do the giveaways that way. And if you want to share, you totally can. You can take a screenshot. I'm going to pose. I'm a model. I'm probably going to get flagged for that, right? Anyways, and really you could talk about like what inspires you about LinkedIn. You could talk about hybrid work, remote. If you want to talk about something that I've said that inspired you, you totally can. Posting your own original content is better than sharing. So I'd encourage you to really kind of do a screenshot and create a whole original post. Tag me if you want to, and we'll go from there. So does anybody actually have a question about sabbatical that they would like to talk about? So I can talk about lots and lots of different things. I'm just checking the chat. There's no specific comments or questions here. I mean, lots of comments being supportive. So it's really cool to see all these people that I love come out to support me. I'm getting actually vibes from around the world. And, a girl that I used to work with, she's in back-to-back meetings, but she can't do anything else about it. But she's playing the playlist and she's dancing. And my photographer is in the middle of a massage, and she sent me a note beforehand, right? So that's one thing that I really found that I embraced while I was on sabbatical is how do you create community when the people that you worked with are just removed from you, right? And people have the best of intentions. They always say that they're going to stay in contact, but people are busy and people are being overwhelmed, especially with the pandemic and like the workload changes. Things happen, right? So embracing the community, I joined a couple of different networking groups. So like the John Asperian Espresso Plus club. I've joined amazing group. I got nervous the other day because all of a sudden I'm like, why am I streaming to Facebook and YouTube? Whose idea was that? And so I put a comment in there and I'm like, what are the best practices? What should I do? And I had like 20 people come out and say, okay, do this and run through this and grade it like this and you'll do fine. It's amazing. Like what time? And half of them are in the audience today. So, but like, I don't know of any other place where I could actually get that level of support. Even if I was working for a company, sometimes you can't even get that with your coworkers because they're not going to drop everything for you. So embrace community. I'm actually a part of 2 other groups, actually 3. I kind of have to assess how many groups I'm part of. I'm part of the Dames, which I'm just checking out. And I'm also part of Bernadette G was the Right Company. Bernadette had actually run the storytelling course that I had taken. Gosh, it's almost 3 years ago now. Really supportive place. It's, a lot of Australians in it. It's really illuminating because there are people around the world, and just the calm demeanor and all of these groups really are kind of like anti-hustle. And the other group that I'm part of is, I won a scholarship to Urgent Optimist. I can't speak. Urgent Optimist, which is actually a group run by Jane McGonigal, who is the director of, futurist or game design. I'm not sure what her exact title is for Institute of the Future. And she's written a book called Unimaginable, but Imaginable. She actually predicted the pandemic in 2010. She ran a simulation and had people actually run through a simulation about how they would actually handle a virus-related pandemic in 2010. And what she spent the pandemic doing is really kind of going back to those participants in the simulation and see how participating in the simulation actually affected their ability to survive the pandemic and thrive in it. Actually, it's really super interesting. And futurist thinking is really what I want to incorporate in the hybrid remote workplace because it's hopeful. There's an urgent need to be optimist. It's really, really easy to be pessimistic and really kind of think about what you've lost. This whole instinct to get back to normal, to get back to the office so that everything is the way it is. That's a control mechanism. That's, it's really mindset, right? So I prefer to look forward, and that's where I'm hoping I can help clients look forward as well too, because I don't think there's any going back. So the greatest healing I've experienced, honestly, this is a question from Kristen. The greatest healing I've experienced was really embracing the mindfulness and the meditation and getting more active. I still have a way to go because I managed to do a whole bunch of damage to my foot last year. I don't know if everybody knows, but 10 years ago, I had a car accident right when I actually was starting the hybrid remote work pilot. Maybe 3 weeks into the pilot, I actually had a car accident and broke my foot, which was awesome. So I convinced them to let me work from home. And I was the only person in the entire company that was actually working from home 5 days a week for almost 2 months until they actually pulled the pilot because of technology issues. And I think they wanted to get me back to work. I don't know for sure. But anyways, I was forced back to work and then actually had to go on leave because I hurt my foot again, just running around their office trying to get $1 million check approved. And then I had to actually go and leave again, right? So lots and lots of learnings out of that whole experience. But I have ongoing issues with that foot because I was prematurely back to work. So the greatest healing I've had is really just being able to survive that, keep going, moving around, and really embracing who I am and what I know I can be. And that's really where the mindfulness that I've been doing with Carrie Twigg has been essential, because I'm just now starting to really let go of the identities that I had. I've realized that I really leaned into a lot of responsibility to kind of power through the last 17 years. And I need to embrace more of what fuels me. So the certification that I'm doing with Kristen, which is more about consulting rather than coaching, is actually going to be very, very interesting because I have a whole lot of thinking skills. The majority of my strengths are actually in thinking and influencing. And that is honestly perfect for consulting work because I'm crafting, I've got a mantra. I'm building a beautiful life. And so the way that I'm building my life is going to be based in thinking. So Monday and Friday are going to be free days to do deep work, to do writing, to do reading, to do research, because honestly, I'm going to be paid to be thinking, which is something I've never been paid for, really. And then the rest of the week will be client-faced, meetings and conversations and output, and that's really what I plan to build my life on. So that is a great question. Really kind of slow down and reflect is really the healing that I had. I had space to actually do that. I don't miss an alarm. I really hate sitting in an office chair. I've learned that I can't do that. I'm going to commit to actually doing walking meetings, right? So if you're going to be a client with me, I'm going to experiment with walking meetings because I want to get you into a different headspace than you've had, right? Because I need you to imagine what the future could be and changes that you might want to consider, right? So I will go back and check YouTube and Facebook for questions and comments there. As far as I know, things are actually coming out in the stream. I'm going to actually try bringing up questions on the screen. I haven't tried this before. So Kenneth had actually commented that Zoom LinkedIn has been great for me. Zoom is actually something that's been very helpful. I honestly didn't use it before the pandemic. I trained staff on how to use WebEx, how to use Teams. I was an early adopter of all of that. And so Zoom is something I learned really while I was off. And I now have a Zoom phone. I have been using it for my podcast. That's how I do my podcast. I actually do a Zoom call and I only really use the audio, but while I'm speaking to the person, I use the video and chat with them live. So it's great for connection. So I agree with you. And LinkedIn, honestly, LinkedIn is fabulous. When I started my job in 2019, when I changed jobs and left the job that really burned me out, LinkedIn, I had 1,000 contacts at that point. And now I'm actually coming into 5,000. So I try not to get too hung up on the numbers. It's more about the connections and the quality conversations that I have for me. But it's been amazing. And honestly, just the visibility that you have, most people don't really engage in LinkedIn. Like it's less than like 1% that are really active in terms of like commenting or liking or even sharing. But they're watching you. And like the people that I interact with now, it's just been amazing. Nobody knew who I was. That's how I got actually out of the burnout job. I really embraced a social media strategy and I applied that both internally and externally. And employee advocacy is something that I really believe in because I know it worked for my career. And that's a real way that people can really thrive in hybrid remote work is how do you make yourself visible when you're actually not in the office, right? I've never actually had a magic moment at a water cooler. So I've had many more magic moments by embracing social media and community and really kind of having those types of interactions. And I actually have to write a post. Michelle Raymond and Danielle Guzman are members of Espresso Plus, and they did this fabulous live stream the other day about employee engagement and how that can really be a retention strategy as well as an attraction strategy for companies. I really have to write a write-up on that and reshare that link because it is one of the most positive conversations I've ever heard about employee advocacy. So many companies approach employee advocacy as just as what's good for the company. And it really needs to be a broader discussion of how does this work for both the employee and the individual and the company itself, right? So that's another passion of mine too. So I did do a podcast on the Janice Oasis. So if I'm not answering or talking about things that you want to hear about, if you haven't heard that episode, it is actually my number one episode in terms of the number of people who've heard it. I find that interesting. Actually, people like my solo episodes. Both I did solo episodes, one on employee advocacy and one on the sabbatical. And those are my two highest listened episodes. So I find that interesting. I love all my guests. They're doing extremely well. And when I'm talking metrics, it's maybe, a few more here and there. But it is fascinating to me that people are coming to my podcast for me as well, too. So that's good learning. So there is a sabbatical episode. I think it's number 10. So you can listen to that if I haven't answered any questions. I am going to try to keep this at 30 minutes because I know you all have busy lives and it's Friday. And, I personally need to clean my kitchen. I'm supposed to be making scones, all kinds of different things. I actually have to book a yoga class as well, too. So that's really what my goal is try to get on board and then be ready for Monday. Somebody asked me what Monday is going to look like, and Monday is going to look like getting up, doing a meditation, doing some exercise, taking the dog for a walk, and then, from 10 to 3, then I'll do the deep work. And I'm really going to start actually backing away from my personal profile on LinkedIn, maybe only post maybe 2 to 3 times a week, and really focus actually on growing the business page and doing action where I'm talking to clients and doing business development calls that way. So that's what Monday looks like. And Susan actually has commented here, great idea for walking meetings. And Jillian actually has woohoo, Canadians unite. Anything else? Oh, and somebody actually, let me just highlight that as well too. Ken had asked, how do I get a copy of the book? All of these books are actually available on Amazon, but you should be able to order it from a local bookstore as well too, because they're, as far as I understand, available worldwide via order through, I can't remember the name of the company. It begins with an M. Anyways, there's a way that bookstores order from any publishers, and they can do that. But definitely all of them are available on Amazon if you want to order them separately, if you don't win, right? So anyways, again, one last showcase of this, because these are the most generous people I know. So Careergasm, Sarah Vermont. She's on LinkedIn, but also Instagram under Careergasm. That's the name of her company. So Carrie Twigg is Career Stories, and she's actually a UMAP coach as well. She wrote part of the book along with Kristen and some other people I know too. And then Kristen Sherry's Maximize 365. If you can't take a year off and you really want to improve your life, actionable tips to kind of implement every day. And then, of course, my personal I'm so proud of this book and so pleased to be able to say, hey, I'm in a kid's book. And again, where's cartoon me? There we go. I'm really bad at actually showing. But yeah, that's lots of fun. So again, I will put it in and I'll create a post and, make sure that the instructions are clear. So like and comment. The other thing I'd like to know from people, honestly, is I've noticed a decrease in employee advocacy. Except that I'm starting to see the return to office people and the people who are really excited about being in the office starting to post tours of the office. And I'm really interested in whether we're actually going to see the people who are embracing hybrid talk about that too. I think that that's a fascinating development to keep your eyes on. I feel that people are not comfortable with necessarily writing about it publicly. So I'm considering creating like a private network. I love the Mighty Networks thing that Urgent Optimist is on. Really, really cool. And it doesn't have an algorithm. And so I'm interested if people want to actually see me create that, you can comment private network, right? So if you like and comment private network, if you're interested in that type of thing, that is a way that you can qualify for the giveaway as well too. So what else do we have in here? So no more comments, but anyways, that's about it. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself. At least maybe you got some little bit of dancing in while I was kind of commenting around. But here's my party hat, and I shall enjoy tweaking. I've taken my website offline for the moment because I need to tweak some of the wording on it. I will be updating the business page because right at the moment it just says it's a sabbatical project. I'll be doing that update, and I need to create an email list and some lead magnets. So that's my task for next week, is really to get that all out. Today's task is to release the limited 3 podcasts, and including Shelley. And that's what I'm doing for the next week or so. And we'll keep updating. So I've created a new hashtag too. You can see these all on my profile if you go to it. I've been using NOLA Tales, but I've also added in NOLA CEO Chronicles. And that way I can build in public and tell people what it's really like being a CEO of my own company. And I think people will be interested in that too. So that's my party. And we can have fun if we want to. All right. I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday. And thank you again for making time and coming and supporting. And it's just been really helpful. Oh, Angela, I'm so happy to see you. So thank you so much. I put that up there. Yeah, it's that whole A-Team meme. It's just like, I love it when a plan comes together. I mean, you're never going to catch me with a cigar. But Hannibal, yep, that meme comes up a lot for me. So. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. And yes, I'm a famous Zoom waiver. Talk to you later. Bye.